This week's memory scripture is Jeremiah 29:11. You could have students orally practice, or they could do a written practice as well. Today's Bible lesson is coming out of the book of Luke, chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. The story is on Mary and Martha. And so Jesus came to their village, and Martha welcomed him into her home. And each sister decided what they felt was the best thing to honor their Lord. Martha wanted to serve and cook for the Lord, and Mary wanted to sit at Jesus' feet. Both sisters had a great heart in what they were doing for the Lord, but Jesus wants us to know that a relationship with him is the most important thing, that we could serve him and he wants us to serve him, but he wants us to spend time with him in prayer and in the word. That is the most important thing. And so I hope you enjoy today's Bible lesson. Okay, today in math lesson 131, students will learn how to identify counting hundreds, tens, and ones blocks. And so if you looked in their book, after their facts page 131, there is a page with like big squares. Those are the 100 blocks. So just to review before we get into that is place value. And so we've already learned the 3-digit place value, which are hundreds, tens, and ones. I call it HTO in class to kind of help students to identify each place. So I have the number 144. So I have 100, 4 tens, and 4 ones, and that makes my number 144. So that's just a review so students can know how to properly write a number down that has a hundreds, tens, and a ones. So the next thing is a group of 10, and so we've already learned how to count groups of 10. Remember, it's a long rectangle, and it will have 10 pennies on the inside of it. We've learned that we just simply count it by tens. We don't have to count each penny individually. And so today students will learn how to count a group of 100. I didn't put any pennies in it because it would have been very time consuming, but it's going to be a big square. And so that means 100. We've already learned in class how to count by hundreds. You could do a review with students how to count all the way to 1,000 by hundreds. And so whenever you have the big square, you count that as 100. So let me show you an example. So I have 2 big squares, I have 3 tens, and then I have the singles, which are my ones, which are my extras. And so if I was to try to figure out how many I would have, I would start with counting how many hundreds I have. So remember, the big squares are hundreds. So I have 1 and then 2. So on my line, I would put 2. And then I count how many tens I have, which is 1, 2, and 3. So then I put a 3. And then I have 3 singles, 1, 2, 3. So then I will put a 3. That should make the number 233. So parents, before you go into the workbook, you could do a review of, you could draw out examples like this for students for them to practice how to do it. Today's workbook page is 131A. It will have a facts page. The squares page is just for them to cut out for extra practice. They don't need to cut it out. And then you have the work page. Today in reading, students are reading pages 66 to 69. This week we are on spelling list 26. And so this list is similar to the prior list that we've been doing. It's about having the root word and knowing how to properly add the suffix to the word. So today students can write their words. I will have the Greek and Latin words on the next slide. These are our students' Greek and Latin words. Please make sure that you include these on the spelling test on Friday. So the first word is zoon, which means animal. Biblos, which means book. Saros, which means lizard. Arbor, which means tree. And tempus, which means time.